with Blast Process 2 raising 6. We have D4gr0n here again with another run, Rocket Knight Adventures, and we have D4gr0n here to provide co-commentary.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, guys?
So this will be done on easy mode. Traditionally we runs of it on easy mode. Children difficulty cuts out a particular last auto scroller, and well, we don't talk much about it. And normal modes has different damage values, and kind of hard to route that. So in the meantime, there's not much in the way of runs for it. So runs are either traditionally done on easy or on hard, in which case hard is everything kills you in one hit and you have no continue. So pretty unfriendly category, especially in a marathon. So I guess I'll do the countdown here. So thank you. We'll get started here in 3, 2, go.
Good luck.
Oh, actually, can you restart the timer? I forgot. I forgot that I had set push to talk, so it's hard for me to do two once here.
Fair enough.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
False start.
Happens the best.
We'll do that again. Hang on. Let me fix that up quickly. And hopefully, I'll probably just turn down the volume on the TV here so that you don't hear any weird echo of sound effects going off from the TV. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Let's redo that one more time. So, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Rocket Knight Adventures. Rocket Knight Adventures involve... You play as this opossum named Sparkster, and he wields a blade that carries a projectile, but his main feature is this rocket boost, which you can reach by holding the attack button. You can also constantly jump while you're going real fast to maintain this speed. This is called possum hopping. You're also seeing a lot of me use sword, and this is the main form of damage done to most things that are HP-related enemies and boss fights. But speaking of a boss fight that is not HP-related, there's this guy who is hit-based. Bad pattern.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of RNG at play in this game. This guy's patterns are incredibly random. As D4gr0n mentioned, rather than having a specific amount of HP that you need to deal, this boss is simply first phase at least is just a certain number of hits needed, and this second phase is HP based, so we just switch to trying to get as many frames of contact damage with the sword as possible. Like the different damage values of the game basically go like the projectile sword fires deals a amount of damage, and then the sword blade itself deals extra damage for each frame of contact that it has. It's the same case for the neutral spiral attack that you can use from not holding any direction when you do a rocket boost, and then you have rocket boosting in the 8 directions itself, but the cardinal directions, up, down, left, and right, deal more damage than a diagonally directed boost.
So now we move on to the Zebulous Kingdom here. This is a very, very difficult level designed to kind of navigate your way through. We're going to try to drain our health during this particular auto because, well, usually taking damage at any point in this game is kind of a time waster, so got to make do with taking damage where we can. And I want to drain my health to half a heart. And that is because... And we want to drain our health because of the end of the level, there is a life bonus. Whoops. And it counts down and then replenishes itself back up. And the less health we have, the faster we get through the results screen.
It does also mean at the same time that D4gr0n is currently in a very high-risk situation where obviously he's one hit from death, so essentially he's trying to reach the end of the stage, including the upcoming boss fight, without taking any more damage. But this boss fight's fairly simple. He behaves the same way every time, and D4gr0n's just going for a quick kill. He's more than on pace for meeting as long as he hasn't missed any hits. Yeah, perfect kill.
So that's another hit-based related boss where the amount of damage you do is based on how many hits you do, so... usually I don't like to rely on projectile for most fights, but in the case of that, it plays to our advantage, and it's just safer. Alright, so this guy here, you can actually attack him a lot earlier, but don't actually register damage to him. You have to wait for the arms to actually become active.
Yeah, it's a little weird there. And this stage has another upcoming mini-boss battle fairly soon. This is one of the more difficult fights in the game to get a quick kill on, but D4gr0n has this strat that he worked on a little bit to hopefully get Sparkster in an advantageous position to get as many frames of contact damage on the weak spot as possible, so let's see this. Yeah, very nice.
Sorry, had to get my, had to kind of remove my headphones there so I could actually listen for the sound cue. So that fight kind of starts with the mini-boss there in the background. So we want to actually attack him before he changes into the foreground. Like, there's a waterfall that you can transition between behind and in front of the waterfall. And you utilize those platforms in order to do that. Sometimes you're able to hit that boss while being on the wrong side. It's just, I guess it's a little bit of a glitch. If you're able to attack the boss, if you attack the boss and transition, I guess on the same bout of frames, I don't know, you are able to still damage him despite being on the wrong side. Alright, good.
This minecart section is obviously just another auto-scroller, so aside from just staying alive on more difficult platforming sections like this part coming up here, D4gr0n's only really concerned at this point with maintaining health. Like, he's just trying to maintain a certain amount of health. I'm thinking that with 4.5 parts, probably just wants to carry this health into the boss fight so that he can damage boost in a specific manner to hopefully get a quick kill on the third phase and end with either a little bit of buffer room on HP, or if an accidental hit is taken on the first phase, then that should put him in position to be able to have minimum health by the end of the fight.
And that boss fight's coming up. So I'm going to get into a nice little sweet spot here. Oh, that might be too close.
Oh yeah, that's very close.
Wow. I actually saved that somehow.
Yeah, that was... needing to adjust there was weird. But it worked out. So yeah, now at 2.5 hearts, as long as there's no hits taken on phase 2, this is the optimal amount of health to carry into phase 3.
This tends to be the hardest phase for a lot of people, though. It's pretty easy to accidentally take a hit to the hands.
Yeah, with the way that causing damage causes extra lag frames as well, it can make the way that the hands are moving a little difficult to gauge, and it's just generally a bit difficult to play. Oh yeah, so I think, again, the lag frames I think play a little here. D4gr0n really wanted to try and turn to the left before taking damage there, so that the boss would damage boost him to the right into the main body, and then you can just abuse Sparks' iframes to just deal soul swipes until he dies, which typically happens before you take another hit.
It was all good, though. We did manage to survive, so... Now, the next screen here is very, very difficult. The foreground likes to kind of obstruct your view on where to jump. Oh my god. I almost went too fast there.
Yeah, that is possible there, honestly. It's... the lava here is just an instant kill if it hits you, and if you boost into it, there's pretty much no getting out of it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can accidentally miss your jump. Sometimes that room can lag as well. So, and when that happens, your inputs can get dropped, and you miss a jump, and it's not fun, because like you said, the lava can't kill you in a single hit.
So, a nice little weird strat here. By moderating when he uses the sword slashes, Dagran's able to stay at the bottom there and take care of that claw. And that's important for this mini-boss because this is another hit-based boss, but it requires a very large number of hits. But if you get rid of that right claw, it actually takes a large fraction of this guy's current HP away. I believe it's 75% of his current hit count. So then, with some carefully placed hits, he goes down fairly quickly.
I'm not sure what getting rid of the left claw actually does, but yeah, we don't bother with that one.
Removes 50% of the current HP.
Oh, okay. More I know. So, this auto-scroller here is yet another opportune time for me to drain my health, because I want to, once again, end the stage at half a heart. So, I'm at the ideal health now, but I don't want to take any more damage here, so just going to rocket boost right over top that bat.
Yeah, 3.5 is the optimal amount to carry into this fight, because for some reason the lava in the previous screen deals 4 hearts, but in this screen it only deals 3 hearts. So there's going to be 1 intentional damage boost, followed by a heal, and then 1 more intentional damage boost to set up the position for the quick kill for this boss.
Yeah, we want to do this in 1 cycle, because it does waste like 20 seconds if we miss it. And we got it.
Yeah.
It's
possible to contact that pig and take damage if you're too close to him as well, which is a bit silly.
It's not too hard of a quick kill, but yes, like you said, you can take damage, and it'll sometimes catch me off guard when it happens. Alright, so this upcoming stage here is probably one I'm not going to talk much, aside from this first mini-boss here with, I guess, Captain Fleagle. I think that's his name. It's going to do a bit of bomb tennis here.
This is just a very technically demanding stage in general. Like this starting section here, theoretically this does progress the same way every time, as long as you play it the same every time, as long as you return the bombs at the same rhythm, then that section always plays out the same. So that was still a good fight, like 1 missed bomb, but it still wasn't too bad. And now, once you're on top of the airship here, the wind is constantly trying to push you backwards, so getting over to this direction, it's quite awkward, especially because if you accidentally contact any of the barrels while you're not boosting, they will then push you back extremely aggressively. So this section is going to see a lot of very high-risk play. I believe Dagran's going to be dropping down to try and do horizontal boosts against this guy, which is more difficult than it looks, because this guy's hitbox is very narrow and it's bobbing up and down. And you can't boost diagonally into this guy because the rebound will actually send you straight down into the void. Yeah, just playing it safe with the last bomb drop, that's very wise. There's a couple of different ways you can take this section, so... yeah, it's, like I'd say, this section is very demanding, and a slightly misplaced boost there does basically guarantee death, because unfortunately in this game, unlike the later installments in this series, once you perform a boost with Sparkster, you do not have control. Like, Sparkster is helpless once the boost is finished.
Alright, we're not going to do that again. We're going to take this, we're going to do the Shadow Jockey strat here.
Yeah, the ball pulls a bit too
Oh my god, I'm an idiot!
Oh! Yeah, even with the SJ, you need to be very quick on jumping off that 3rd platform while it is still at the highest point. Thankfully, as far as potential game overing is concerned, you can see there is a 1-up in this section which does infinitely respawn. I think the game developers probably knew this was a very difficult part.
Oh, alright. Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm not sure what killed him there.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. I didn't quite catch that.
We're just going to do that. Yes. I thought I was a little more confident with that, but after missing both ways of doing that part, I'm just going to play it the safe, casual way.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with some occasional casual strats. And this is a very simple strat for this room, where if you just hold right from gaining entry there, and as long as you don't miss any hits on the enemies, the laser doors just always clear your path. And then in this room, you don't need to do anything, and you will actually always be safe. But Dagran is opting to, now that he's having to enter this room from full health, take some damage boosts to again start moderating his health. You do ideally want to have a little bit of buffer room on this boss though, because when the last phase of this guy starts running around, this is actually a dangerous health count. So yeah, he's taking a safer approach here with the first preliminary boost, because with all the explosion effects happening there, it does cause a lot of lag, and it can sometimes just seem to eat your attacks, and he can just run into you and straight up kill you.
Yeah, so that was not a very good stage, but, you know, it's fine. It's probably the easiest place I could die and lose a lot of time.
It just shows how difficult the game is. It's fine.
So thankfully...
If you die in this auto-scroller, we're gonna have words, because you shouldn't die in this auto-scroller.
No. Don't worry. I won't play that badly now. Yeah, but Stage 5 is mostly an auto-scroller. There's not really too much to say, although most of the randomness in this game actually is tied to the progression of the auto-scrollers, actually. It just, sometimes you can get a weird pattern or weird spawn rates, especially with those pigs on balloons.
Yeah.
It's got some weird sort of time saves in... more particularly this level and the level that comes up afterwards.
A lot of the damage boosting in this stage, though, is about to occur on the upcoming mini-bosses, since once you enter the castle in the stage, virtually everything from that point on is a one-hit kill hazard. Like, the boss itself isn't, but you want to take minimal damage against the boss. I think you probably just want room for one possible damage boost on the boss if you go for a risky strat. So this health count is, yeah, this is looking like it's going to end up normal.
Yeah, you want to end with 2.5 hearts, because we're going to take one final hit on the actual boss itself, which is intentional. Because it does 2 hearts.
It is possible to get the quick kill on the boss without taking a mutual hit, but you virtually can't aim for it. Like, if you get that, it's luck, basically.
Yeah, so all these pigs here that are trying to chase me down here are all one-hit death hazards, so... But, thankfully, because that's kind of how the stage is designed, we can... With enough practice, you know, we are able to avoid them pretty easily.
Yeah, like, they're meant to be very threatening screens, but as long as you know the obstacles, then you can just outspeed them massively. Like, it's not even something you have to worry about. The only thing you need to potentially worry about is boosting in the wrong direction and getting a rebound, but yeah, with practice, you know how to not do that. More often than not, diagonal boosts tend to really benefit you, especially in hallways like these. Like, trying to horizontally boost in these hallways actually causes significant problems, whereas diagonal boosts are very safe.
Yeah, because when you horizontal boost, you go much greater distance. So this little platform here has a up and down feature button that you slice or you slash at to either take the platform up or down. It's always moving forward, so that previous screen is a pretty good little tutorial section for how to know how to use it before allowing you to advance. And which is good, because this next section here has all these shining spikes, and they are all one-hit death hazards as well, so it's all about just navigating through them. There is a pretty risky boost I will be doing at the end. And
man, quote-unquote risky, you've got a pretty clear visual cue for it as long as you follow the gem trail. Just don't mistime it.
Yeah.
Because this is a very costly screen to take a death on, since you do have to restart from the start of the auto-scroller.
Yeah. And considering I've already taken a couple costly deaths, having a costly death here would be pretty embarrassing.
So as far as the upcoming boss fight is going to be concerned, first we have to just run away from Axelgear's mech as it chases us down. Then once we reach our own mech, you can get the first few hits for free as he's closing in, and then D4gr0n's going to go for a little weird strat where like you duke him out for a little bit and then go for a specific dual exchange hit after he retreats for a little bit and then swings back towards you. And if you get that successfully, it cuts down the time for the last hit significantly, because it cuts out a long retreat time when he's one hit away from death. but it's quite difficult to aim for you. But since it's random, the time he retreats, you basically have to just react to it. So let's see.
Got it.
Very nice. Like, I don't know about you, but I personally just try to react as soon as I see him start moving towards me.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I have to play it, because yeah, when you're going for a dual exchange, you have to react pretty much instantly. It's kind of a little safe strat you could do is kind of retreat back, move back a little bit as he's trying to retreat, and so you create the greatest distance and allow yourself to react in time.
Mm-hmm.
So, whoops. So this little auto-scroller here, wow, okay. I'm playing this really badly.
This is why this is the best stage in the run. This stage is just, I mean, it is an auto-scroller, but it is made up specifically of lots of different waves. And one of the annoying elements of this stage is that the current wave that you're on, it doesn't end, causing the next wave to begin until all of the objects are off screen. So if there's an enemy or a pickup that the enemy's dropped still on screen, then the next wave will not start until it's left the screen.
Alright. Yeah, so that wave you just saw there, I can hit either a meteor and gain apples, or I can hit an enemy and gain enemies, which also count as a wave of sorts.
Yeah, and since you're just trying to hit them as soon as possible, it's basically random which one you get.
Also, you don't really have to kill those pigs, those first two set of pigs there, because Axel will kill them off for you. And, well, attacking anything, wow, I'm actually surprised I didn't hit anything there. When you hit pretty much anything with your base sword, you do induce some lag, so it's,
yeah, that's right.
Anytime you don't need to attack something, it's better that you don't attack.
There's a little bit of that in play with this boss as well, where you can optionally attack all of these turrets, but number one, obviously it's a bit slower to light them out, and number two, you do want to leave certain things alive so that we can hopefully get damage boosts off the little orange pellets that they shoot. The orange pellets deal like barely any damage at all, but the main body of the boss deals 4 hearts of damage.
And kind of speaking of things that do little damage, like half a heart worth of damage, the next time they hit you, it'll be a full heart worth of damage, which is just kind of based on the numerical, I guess, I forget. Oh, wow, okay. That's a little too low.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. In basic terms, the health bar in the game obviously refers to a numerical system, but things basically deal damage in increments of 400. So sometimes the game will basically represent something as half a heart, but on the next hit it can either like round up or round down depending on if it exceeds a certain value.
So, because this is, because this boss fight is extremely long and the pattern's always the same for this last phase here, we're going to take this time to once again drain our health down to half a heart. And there's, I think, there's just, I think about 2 more hits after this.
Yeah, this is the second hit, so this is a 4-cycle fight.
Mm-hmm. Also, the top left corner is also a nice little safe place to actually kind of hide while this guy's kind of busy bouncing around. And this pretty interesting sort of animation he's doing. So we'll take one more hit here. There we go. And this next hit should deal the death blow. Also, when obviously the optimal way of doing that fight, that second last phase, is to try and hit that little orange bouncy ball he's tossing from hand to hand, arm to arm, as soon as possible. And kind of my visual cue, what I do is I wait for the top of the arm to almost hit the top of the screen. And that's when I know the orange ball is about to come out. Alright, so this is this is the last stage of the game here, and this is one I'm also going to kind of be quiet and focus for the most part.
Yes, stage 7 is super challenging. When you're playing just regular hallways, the movement is often very challenging, and aside from that, the stage is pretty much a boss rush. So we're starting off with the Pig Emperor here. A couple of phases. First phase went really well here, and there is a bit of a quick kill that you can perform here, but I'm not sure if this is on.
No, I was in kind of not the correct positioning on the second one.
Yeah, the important thing really though is being able to end with max health, because we need quite a large health investment for the next boss, which is Axelgear, the Black Knight. This fight is divided into 3 phases, and this first phase has basically a semi-cast strat, which is the most technically demanding thing to pull off in the game, so I'm also going to be quiet and let that concentrate.
Okay, that's not bad at all. 5 heart finish is really good.
Better than I can do. I discovered this strat a fair while ago now, whereby if you're in a very precise position, you can have a 2-frame window for each attack to hit him with the backswing of your sword and not take damage yourself. And he moves left by 1 pixel every time you hit him, so you need to keep manually readjusting your position. That is a hellish strat to perform, but it's a lot faster than the strats we had before it. And now just a positional setup for this phase 3, and yep, that's the boss. Very nice kill.
And also messing up at any point also does lose a little bit of time going for that strat as well. Oh god. Okay.
Hell room. Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Alright, yeah, that's fine. Thankfully, even though you're like helpless after initiating a boost, regardless of if you are in a sword swing animation, you still have iframes after you exit the boost. Like, once you've exited the boost, until you land on the ground, you are completely invulnerable to all forms of damage, which is quite helpful. And this is the quote-unquote final boss here. Quote-unquote. It has a lot of phases, though.
Yeah, and I think, what is he called? The core?
I'm calling the core, yeah.
Yeah. Basically the core of the pig star itself, which is what we're inside right now. And he's a pretty simple fight, actually, at least in comparison to...
Yeah, like, this is a relatively trivial fight, but at the same time, Dag doesn't have very much health left, and there are a couple of phases where if you let things get out of control, then it can be surprisingly difficult to get the fight back in control, so I'm sure he's still just going to be focusing on doing everything right.
Mm-hmm. I also want to try to bait out the weak spot into a diagonal position. It actually saves a few frames by the core actually phasing out sooner. Actually, one of those really weird time saves that I never really thought about until I actually made comparisons to other top runners.
The weak spot locations in this phase, like, they're not random, but sometimes they can really control you by, like that, appearing in an unexpected location. So this is, yeah, a bit of a problem. Nice, though.
Yeah, normally I do counting strats, but in the interest of not distracting... Wow, that was close. Distracting my commentator here, my co-commentator. I opted out of it and just kind of went by instinct. And you can see this face is not as quite as bad. Just kind of the same weak spot as long as you stay to one side. It actually exposes the weak point on the opposite side, bottom side of the core itself.
Yeah, it just requires a bit of careful timing more than anything else, but like, this isn't time yet, but that is basically the run, because this is just one final auto-scroller section running away from the final boss, which honestly is very trivial to perform. And then it's going to be time right after that. So we're about a minute away from time, just over a minute.
Okay, well, I guess aside from those 2 deaths, it actually really wasn't too bad of a run, actually.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy with a run like this in a marathon, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the easiest section of the run to die on, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Usually I'm not really like that hard on myself if I die in that section, because it's traditionally in races as well as in runs where I usually tend to die, that or the mini boss before it. So time on this run will be when the screen actually fades to white, which will follow after this guy completely disintegrates. Shortly, okay, so you see the screen kind of turns red here. He's going to take one more dive at me, and then he's going to show up one more time and disintegrate, and then the screen's going to fade to white pretty shortly after that. And then it'll be time. And time.
GG, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Always a treat to do this run. I have admittedly not put as much focus on this run as of late, and I really should, because I know I can at least improve the run I have now for a PB. I know it's possible to get that 26 4x time. It just requires quite a bit of grinding. But
it's still a very good run as it is now.
It certainly is. Gosh. Well, I was thinking of giving some shoutouts, but I also think I can leave that for at the end of the next run coming up, which is the sequel to this game.
Yep, so stay tuned for another run from D4gr0n. We have Sparkster, the Rocket Knight Adventures 2. Stay tuned.